Hi. Welcome to the History House. I'm Ahmed Saeed and you are watching the significance of the 11th of October on your favorite The History House YouTube channel. Please like this video and subscribe the channel for the importance of the day, success stories as well as the failure stories around the world on daily basis. October 11th is the 284th day of the year, 285th in leap years in the Gregorian calendar. 81 days remain until the end of the year. This date is slightly more likely to fall on a Tuesday, Sunday, or Thursday 58 times in 400 years than a Friday or Saturday 57, and slightly less likely to fall on a Monday or Wednesday 56. The 11th of October 1138 a massive earthquake strikes Aleppo. It is one of the most destructive earthquakes ever. The 1138 Aleppo earthquake was among the deadliest earthquakes in history. Its name was taken from the city of Aleppo, in northern Syria, where the most casualties were sustained. The quake occurred on the 11th of October 1138 and was preceded by a smaller quake on the 10th. It is frequently listed as the third deadliest earthquake in history, following on from the Shenxi and Tangshan earthquakes in China. However, the figure of 230,000 deaths reported by Ibn Tughribirdi in the 15th century is based on a historical conflation of this earthquake with earthquakes in November 1137 on the Jazira Plain and the large seismic event of 30 September 1139 in the Transcaucasian city of Ganja. The 11th of October 1531 Huldrych Zwingli is killed in battle with the Roman Catholic cantons of Switzerland. Huldrych Zwingli or Ulrich Zwingli, the 1st of January 1484 to the 11th of October 1531, was a leader of the Reformation in Switzerland, born during a time of emerging Swiss patriotism and increasing criticism of the Swiss mercenary system. He attended the University of Vienna and the University of Basel, a scholarly center of Renaissance humanism. He continued his studies while he served as a pastor in Glarus and later in Einsiedeln, where he was influenced by the writings of Erasmus. The 11th of October 1634 the Birchedy flood kills around 15,000 in North Friesland, Denmark and Germany. The Birchedy flood, also known as the Second Grootmandrenke, was a storm tide that struck the North Sea coast of North Frisia and Dithmarschen in modern-day Germany on the night between 11 and 12 October 1634. Overrunning dikes, it shattered the coastline and caused thousands of deaths, 8,000 to 15,000 people drowned, and catastrophic material damage. Much of the island of Strand washed away, forming the islands Nordstrand, Pellworm and several Halligan. The 11th of October 1649 Cromwell's new model army sacks Wexford, killing over 2,000 Irish Confederate troops and 1,500 civilians. The Sack of Wexford took place from 2 to the 11th of October 1649, during the campaign known as the Cromwellian Conquest of Ireland. It was part of the wider 1641–1653 Irish Confederate Wars, and an associated conflict of the Wars of the Three Kingdoms. A parliamentarian force under Oliver Cromwell stormed the town after negotiations broke down, killing most of the garrison. Many civilians also died, either during the sack, or drowned attempting to escape across the River Slaney. Along with Drogheda, Wexford is still remembered as an infamous atrocity. The 11th of October 1776 American Revolution, a fleet of American boats on Lake Champlain is defeated by the Royal Navy, but delays the British advance until 1777. The Battle of Valcour Island, also known as the Battle of Valcour Bay, was a naval engagement that took place on October 11, 1776, on Lake Champlain. The main action took place in Valcour Bay, a narrow strait between the New York mainland and Valcour Island. The battle is generally regarded as one of the first naval battles of the American Revolutionary War, and one of the first fought by the United States Navy. Most of the ships in the American fleet under the command of Benedict Arnold were captured or destroyed by a British force under the overall direction of General Guy Carleton. However, the American defense of Lake Champlain stalled British plans to reach the upper Hudson River Valley. The 11th of October 1852 the University of Sydney, Australia's oldest university, is inaugurated in Sydney. The University of Sydney, USYD, or informally Sydney Uni, is an Australian public research university in Sydney, Australia. Founded in 1850, it is Australia's first university and is regarded as one of the world's leading universities. The university is known as one of Australia's 6 sandstone universities. Its campus is ranked in the top 10 of the world's most beautiful universities by the British Daily Telegraph and the American The Huffington Post, spreading across the inner-city suburbs of Camperdown and Darlington. The university comprises 9 faculties and university schools, through which it offers bachelor, master and doctoral degrees. The 11th of October 1890 in Washington, D.C., the Daughters of the American Revolution is founded. The Daughters of the American Revolution (DAR) is a lineage-based membership service organization for women who are directly descended from a person involved in the United States' efforts towards independence. A non-profit group, they promote historic preservation, education, and patriotism. The organization's membership is limited to direct lineal descendants of soldiers or others of the Revolutionary period who aided the cause of independence. Applicants must have reached 18 years of age and are reviewed at the chapter level for admission. The DAR has over 185,000 current members in the United States and other countries. Its motto is God, Home, and Country. The 11th of October 1906 San Francisco sparks a diplomatic crisis between the United States and Japan by ordering segregated schools for Japanese students. The Gentlemen's Agreement of 1907 Nikobei Shinshi Koyaku was an informal agreement between the United States of America and the Empire of Japan whereby the United States would not impose restrictions on Japanese immigration and Japan would not allow further emigration to the United States. The goal was to reduce tensions between the two Pacific nations. The agreement was never ratified by the United States Congress and was superseded by the Immigration Act of 1924. The 11th of October 1910 piloted by Arch Hoc C. Theodore Roosevelt becomes the first U.S. president to fly in an airplane. The 11th of October 1941 beginning of the National Liberation War of Macedonia. World War II in Yugoslav Macedonia started with the Axis invasion of Yugoslavia in April 1941. Under the pressure of the Yugoslav partisan movement, part of the Macedonian communists began in October 1941 a political and military campaign to resist the occupation of Varda Macedonia. Officially, the area was called then Varda Banovina, because the very name Macedonia was prohibited in the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. It was occupied mostly by Bulgarian, but also by German, Italian, and Albanian forces. The 11th of October 1958 NASA launches Pioneer 1, its first space probe, although it fails to achieve a stable orbit. Pioneer 1 was an American space probe, the first under the auspices of NASA, which was launched by a Thor-Able rocket on the 11th of October 1958. It was intended to orbit the Moon and make scientific measurements, but due to a guidance error failed to achieve lunar orbit and was ultimately destroyed upon re-entering Earth's atmosphere. The flight, which lasted 43 hours and reached an apogee of 113,800 kilometers (70,700 miles), was the second and most successful of the 3 Thor-Able space probes. The 11th of October 1987 start of Operation Pawan by Indian forces in Sri Lanka. Thousands of civilians, insurgents, soldiers die. Operation Pawan was the codename assigned to the operation by the Indian Peacekeeping Force (IPKF) to take control of Jaffna from the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam (LTTE), better known as the Tamil Tigers, in late 1987 to enforce the disarmament of the LTTE as a part of the Indo-Sri Lanka Accord. In brutal fighting lasting about 3 weeks, the IPKF took control of the Jaffna Peninsula from the LTTE, something that the Sri Lankan army had tried but failed to do. Supported by Indian Army tanks, helicopter gunships and heavy artillery, the IPKF routed the LTTE at the cost of 214 soldiers and officers. The 11th of October 1991 U.S. unemployment benefit blocked. President Bush today vetoed a bill that would have provided up to an additional 20 weeks unemployment benefit, calling it poorly designed and unnecessarily expensive. The 11th of October 1998 US dollar. After a week of heavy currency speculation, the dollar settles at its lowest level against the Japanese yen, with the dollar trading at 116 yen dollar yen exchange rate 99 yen in October 2008, dollar yen exchange rate 112 yen and 64 sen in September 2017. The 11th of October 2000, NASA launches STS-92, the 100th space shuttle mission. STS-92 was a space shuttle mission to the International Space Station (ISS), flown by Space Shuttle Discovery. STS-92 marked the 100th mission of the Space Shuttle. It was launched from Kennedy Space Center, Florida, the 11th of October 2000. STS-92 was an ISS assembly flight that brought the Z1 truss, control moment gyros, pressurized mating adapter 3 (PMA3) mounted on a Spacelab pallet, and 2 DDCU heat pipes to the space station. The 11th of October 2002, Carter wins Nobel Peace Prize. Former President Jimmy Carter wins the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts at ending the Middle East conflict and acting as a mediator between Egypt and Israel. The 11th of October 2002, a bomb attack in a shopping mall in Finland kills 7. The Maijamäki bombing took place on October 11, 2002, in Maijamäki, Vantaa, Finland, in Greater Helsinki, at the Maijamäki shopping mall. A bomb, hidden in a backpack, exploded in the central square of the shopping center on top of a metal waste container, located in the center of the square, at 1936. 5 people were killed immediately, including the bomb carrier. The waste container was shattered, and fragments of the structure increased the amount of shrapnel and the devastation. The explosion ruined 400 square meters of the shopping center, carved a 10 cm deep crater in the floor where the waste container had stood, and blew the glass dome over the square up and outwards from the mall. In total 7 died, including 2 teenagers and a 7-year-old. 159 were injured, including 10 children. 66 victims required hospitalization, with the remainder treated and released at the scene. The 11th of October 2013, a migrant boat sinks in the Channel of Sicily, with at least 34 people drowning. A boat carrying migrants from Libya to Italy sank off the Italian island of Lampedusa. It was reported that the boat had sailed from Misrata, Libya, but that many of the migrants were originally from Eritrea, Somalia and Ghana. An emergency response involving the Italian Coast Guard resulted in the rescue of 155 survivors. On the 12th of October, it was reported that the confirmed death toll after searching the boat was 359, but that further bodies were still missing. A figure of more than 360 deaths was later reported. The 11th of October 2018, Soyuz MS-10, launching an intended crew for the ISS, suffers an in-flight abort. The crew lands safely. Soyuz MS-10 was a crewed Soyuz MS spaceflight which aborted shortly after launch on the 11th of October 2018 due to a failure of the Soyuz FG launch vehicle boosters. MS-10 was the 139th flight of a Soyuz spacecraft. Both crew members, Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin and NASA astronaut Nick Hague, were recovered in good health. The MS-10 flight abort was the first instance of a Russian crewed booster accident in 35 years, since Soyuz T-10-1 exploded on the launch pad in September 1983. On 1 November 2018, Russian scientists released a video recording of the mission. Thanks a lot for watching the History House YouTube channel. Please like this video and subscribe the channel for latest stories on daily basis.